if there's one thing about this Bafana Bafana team, and it's something that Hugo Bruce is going to teach us South Africans, kankani. He's going to teach us that a good game, a win, does not have to be beautiful. You don't have to shigisha the ball for a game to be a win. And what I love about this Bafana Bafana team is that they are so effective. Effective when they need to play defensively and maybe score on a counter, similar to what they did in Morocco. Effective when maybe they've got control of the ball and they have to play a beautiful touch-based football to win, similar to what they did when we went to South Sudan, if I'm not mistaken, at times in that game. They're effective when their front three is nowhere for most of that game. When they have to win via corners and an absolute beautiful goal by Utebza, they win. This was not a good game by Bafana Bafana. The defense was under pressure for a lot of the game. Ronwin made a lot of great saves. We look at the front three and we have to start questioning whether we can play Apolis, Mokwena and Foster with Uzwan. I think Mokwena, when he plays on that right wing, Umudawiyam crowder, man. Umudawu runs into that space and Mokwena doesn't know where to go because when he moves inside, Konu Foster. You look at Apolis, who today played more of a traditional wing role. Out wide, trying to get balls from there. And he didn't look as effective as when he started dropping back and coming into the 8. He looked so good in our last game in that 8 position. But he looked a bit rusty today. You look at our defense, where every time there was an attack, you can tell that the communication at defenseman is not quite there, and they're really going to need a cover player who's going to protect them from the 6. When you start seeing that Umudiba, as great as he is as a modern left back, he's not that strong when doing the traditional left back things, when going up for high balls, taking on crosses, doing those type of things. Ayeko strong gangago, and the two central defenders, Dotli and Mudiba, Dotli and Kekana, they sort of lose each other at times. This wasn't a beautiful game, but it was a 5-0 win. It was another performance by Hugo Bruce where he shows us that there's different ways to win games. There's different ways to go about it. Now, if I can touch on Congo. Sorry to interrupt this video, but I need a little bit of your help. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can probably see my subscribe account. And if you can, I'd be very grateful if you would subscribe. That is actually the best way to support this channel, because the bigger that number is, the better it looks to potential guests and other brands and companies that I will approach for sponsorship. It may seem like a very small thing to ask for, but it actually helps with all of this. Thank you very much. Let's get back to the video. I think in the first half, Congo was structured. They chose to stay in their 4-2-3-1-ish type formation, where they were doing everything you're meant to do when you face a Ronwen Williams team. You don't press reckless, you don't bring all your players into the press, you sort of shift with it. We saw it when Supersport played Sundowns. You sort of shift with it. When they have the ball, you send a player, but everybody just sort of comes back to the structure. And it kind of frustrated Bafana Bafana for a little bit, especially because you could say that Congo was a little bit unlucky to go down, and especially from set pieces. I don't think Congo was, for the first, let's say, 60 minutes were outplayed. I don't think they were outplayed. I don't think that Bafana Bafana took them off of the pitch. Or completely, controlled that game all the way. They were very conservative, and they chose to play safe, which you understand playing away. Which is why I didn't understand. You go into the long break, For those who didn't watch the game, there was a break because two fans ran onto the pitch and celebrated with the team for the first two goals, and the ref felt a little bit unsafe, which, if I can go into it, I understand. I don't think the ref was wrong to do that because, remember, we're playing in the African context. So when you're playing in the African context, it's not all countries that are going to be safe. So it's much rather we tell all the referees that when fans start acting a certain way, rather pause the game because you don't know where it can go. It's a slippery slope. One runs in, another one runs in, then everybody feels like they can run in. And it was, I think, smart by the ref to do that. But to get back to the point I was making, you're 2-0 down and you have a long break. You have time to think and assess and check what was happening. I think Congo got hurt by their pride in this game because a 2-0 score in a table format is not bad. Away is not bad. You look at the game and you say, listen, they've scored these goals. Maybe we need to just, pack our bags, park a bus, deflate the tires, double decker, and just make sure that you give yourself a fighting chance going into the next game. Congo started to be reckless. They went from that 4-2-3-1 I spoke about and started playing 3 at the back, started leaving 2, started committing 4, 5, 6 players, started playing a reckless pressing game where they started to now try and go to South Africa. And I understand maybe you want to try get that one goal. But what happens at the back? Because the moment they started doing that, that's when Bafana Bafana came alive. That's when you started to see that Apolis, that Mokwena, that Foster, that Zwane are counter-attacking players. They're players that play on transition, that need a little bit of chaos, that need a little bit of space, that need one-on-ones. When Abu Mfukeng came on and they were running ragged, when Abu Mudiba were joining into the attack, when all of that was happening, it was all because Congo decided that they wanted to play in this game. Similar to how now I'm speaking about beautiful football not being the only way to play, and maybe sometimes you have to win ugly. Sometimes you have to decide how you want to lose. You're already losing 2-0. You've tried to get your one goal, it's not coming. Now you're looking at a 4 at a 5. And now, even when Bafana Bafana started to mess up on their own, you started to now see that it's 5-1 still. 5-2 still. It doesn't make sense. And then you ask the question that what happens to them when they come into the game in Congo? You've already lost 5-0 this side. Do you go and exact revenge? Understanding that you going for revenge gave Bafana Bafana their best chances from open play when you started playing them and you were turning up the volume. Do you go in and defend? Where now maybe you're looking for a 0-0 or a 1-1, but now your goal difference now says -6. So that is a very interesting part of this. But when we speak about Bafana Bafana, they haven't looked amazing over the 3 games that they've played. They haven't looked amazing. Talendembata having to come out and save us twice was not a good sign. The fact that our front players don't necessarily know what to do and he's persisting with Abu Mokwena. No disrespect to Mokwena, not to say he's a bad player, but I don't think he gets that system. I think that's going to be an issue at some point. Our defense is going to be an issue at some point with the big games. So it might not matter when you're playing a Congo team that is ranked 117th in the world and 29th in Africa, where you are almost double. You're 1 from being double what Congo's ranking is, where you can afford to make mistakes versus them, versus a South Sudan, versus a Uganda, and come back into the game. What happens in the big games? I still also question the policy we have about players. You look at the players that have come in For example, today we saw Kwaiba, we saw Tito Rile, we saw Luke Leroux and those type of players. But now Tito, who's been with you the whole time, sitting on the bench. Now, he's right there. How do we treat second team players in terms of the time they've spent with the squad and making sure that that time is fruitful? Making sure that you haven't dragged somebody there just or maybe to make people happy, similar to the Chiefs thing that he did with Abu Modi. To make them happy, to bring those guys, and then when push comes to shove, Utito hasn't played any games. Now you're trusting new people who also haven't played any games. And at some point you'll have to make a choice and say, if I've had you for 6, 7, 10 months, years in this team, you have to be the priority because you know me, you understand the team. And it's going to be very risky at times going forward if we're going to keep doing this with these players. But I don't want to make this doom and gloom because Bafana Bafana did get the win that we needed. We do have 2 wins and 1 draw in our group. It does mean that we go top because right now we have 7 points versus Uganda's 2. Uganda did draw. They have 1 win and 2 draws. So it does look like we're going to qualify for the AFCON. Top 2 teams qualify. So I think we're going to be fine in that qualification. I think the team again played very well. And for all of the criticisms, whether tactical, whether player-wise or anything, we have to give Bafana Bafana credit. We have to say that Bafana Bafana, this team has done incredible in Hugo Bruce's time. Whether we like it, whether we agree, whether we like the players or the play or any of that stuff, this Bafana Bafana team has been doing great and they do deserve to be celebrated. And for all of the questions we have and everything we've said, guys, can we please also leave time to say this is the best Bafana Bafana team we've had in a very long time. Some people were not born when Bafana Bafana was the Bafana Bafana that we know. So let's give credit to the boys, let's give credit to Hugo Bruce, and let's make sure that our analysis and our critique of what happened in the game is not clouded by a dislike of Bruce or a dislike of the players he chooses or a dislike of the style of play that he has. Let's also, be fair in that regard. Wonderful game for Tebza. Welcome back, Tebza. Hopefully, whatever was happening at Mamelodi Sundowns can be mended so he can get back into that team. And he is a great player. We need our great players to be playing. And if he is the best player for that position, both at club and country, let him play. Whatever they have, let them sort it out. Well done to him for those 2 goals. Well done to Uopas, who had to come in at the last minute, replacing a Jaden Adams, was thrust into the game. And yes, while he looked a bit shaky at times, he got his goal. He played well. I think we need to also give credit to those type of players who are coming in Gary last minute. Bafana Bafana, another win, 5-0. I don't know when last we've won 5-0. And I'm extremely happy that this Bafana Bafana team continues to perform, continues to prove us wrong, continues to show us that sometimes the things we want are not the things that we need to win. And maybe as a country now, we need to find that patriotism. Well done to the Eastern Cape for filling out that stadium, for having all those fans there. I think we can only criticize the fact that fans were running onto the pitch and making it a little bit difficult. And that could have been a very big game-changing thing, taking away the momentum from South Africa. So please, as fans, we need to learn also to control ourselves. Control ourselves, enjoy the game, support the boys. Yes, we're excited, but their excitement could hurt them. Congo could have gone into that break. Bakokumoya assessed, got two times, half-time and that break, all because people wanted to run onto the pitch. They could have come out a different team. They didn't, luckily for us. We do need to patch that at the back, but otherwise, Bafana Bafana, well done. Ronwen Williams, again, my captain, kept us into this game. Please, let's go vote for him for that Yasin trophy. He is leading the fan vote. So let's do as much to make sure that the fan vote is very high so that when they do go and vote as the media and all of those other people, it does balance out and we can give him a fighting chance. Guys, it's been incredible. Well done, Bafana Bafana. Well done, Hugo Bruce. I'll see you guys again for the second Congo game. Bye, everyone.